You are watching the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Friday live stream. How are
What's
you guys
up?
doing?
Hello. Doing
Evan's
good.
going to be a little late today, so we replaced him with the lawyer cat for now.
that
Did you
just
see that
made
video?
that just made
not a
my
cat.
day.
No, what was the video, Steve?
It was just, a lawyer and a judge, and they were doing a Zoom, some kind of official Zoom meeting, whether it was a deposition or whatever. And then the lawyer had a cat, just like what you're seeing in Evan's thing, a cat, whatever you call it,
Filter.
overlay filter.
Oh my god!
And
probably from his kids or something.
Probably as the kid was using it, put it on a cat filter, and the guy did not know how to turn it off.
That's awesome. Oh, that's
So-
great.
Somehow that found its way to the YouTubes, to the intertubes, and it of course went viral. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, Steve, I have a medical question for you.
Yeah.
Why do stitches get itchy? What's the whole itchiness with healing, skin healing?
They put itching powder on the stitches. Did you hear that?
No, because it gets inflamed, and the inflammation involves mast cells releasing chemicals that cause you to itch.
But wouldn't it make sense for the healing process for it not to itch?
I don't understand itching. Itching
Yeah.
powerfully motivates you to do the one thing you shouldn't do. So I don't know that, again, that's like there's an evolutionary advantage to itching. I think it's an epiphenomenon. You know what I mean?
Well, itching might get rid of bugs. You know, I always thought that itchy, like that creepy little wisp of a feeling.
I
on
guess
your
so. I
skin.
guess, yeah. I mean, you could say that, yeah, if you have something crawling on you, you want to get rid of it. But the itching, like when you have a rash or you have something that you're not supposed to scratch, that is a holdover from
being worms,
having bugs and stuff.
Yeah. So somebody asked in the chat, how's my hand? So, I got this thing on that keeps me from bending my wrist.
What is it? I can't see it. Okay.
It's like, this is really cool plastic. They can form fit it. Like they put it in hot water and the plastic gets really pliable. And then she literally just puts it on my arm and, shapes it around, and then it just gets cooler and it hardens. It works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I got to keep it on my hand. It's itchy. I'm in no pain. I have not been in any pain at all. Just a little bit of soreness in my palm right here, basically where like they put the implement. This incision is here, and they stuck a metal rod into my palm. And that's the track that they run the camera on. That's the track that the blade is on. So the doctor basically gets in there with the camera, lines it up just right, make sure that there's nothing weird going on. And that's it. But I haven't really bent my wrist in about a week. And that's weird. But I got full movement in my fingers. Everything's good. Typing sucks. I'll tell you why. This piece of plastic right here hits the control button. So I'm typing, and all of a sudden, like all of my Adobe programs are opening. I guess they're control keyed, right? I had no idea that they were mapped to control keys. I'm like, so I'm like I got everything opening up. I'm like, what the hell? And even though I know what happens now, I can't stop it because my hand position is so hardwired into my head. What am I going to have my arm up like this? It's terrible.
Yeah, I know. I broke my wrist 20 years ago. And if you guys remember that, it was 2001. I remember that because I had the cast on when 9/11 happened. And typing was the worst. I had new boots that had steel toes in them, and they were heavy, and I tripped over them and fell on concrete and landed like this.
Fuck, man, why don't I remember that?
I was in a cast for weeks.
Yeah,
and they had to immobilize the elbow for 2 weeks, and then reduced it to just the wrist for another 4 weeks or something.
That's a long time to be immobilized. That sucks.
Now, I remember that the skin on my fingers built up, because I wasn't
getting sloughed off.
It wasn't getting through normal use. It wasn't wearing away. But when I finally got my cast off, like I had to you could dig this deep dead skin off the hand.
Wow,
nasty.
I had 6 weeks of dead skin to fluff off of there. But yeah, typing was a bitch while I had that cast on. Yeah, I had to one hand type, which
that's horrible.
Writing my blog and writing my notes and everything with one hand was terrible.
Jay, can you disable the control key?
Oh, of course I could remap it, but it's going to be mapped to something, I guess, right? I got around it. I came up with a little hack. So the thing is, the miracle of modern day surgery.
Yeah.
Of course, there's so many different kinds of surgery, but the night of my surgery, after I had it, because usually my carpal tunnel hits me when I'm lying down. I don't know if it's my body position, the fluid level changes. You all that fluid that gets stored in your legs, comes back to the rest of your body. And I think that's what did it. Just needs a little bit more fluid going through my carpal tunnel area. So bottom line is, the night of my surgery, my right hand, which didn't get the surgery, my thumb and these 3 fingers got painfully, numb as usual, and this hand was completely normal. No numbness, none of the carpal tunnel symptoms. It's ridiculous how awesome it is. And Steve, you just told me that when the old version of the surgery, they'd cut you from here to here.
Yeah,
they'd lay the whole thing open so they can get in there and adjust all the wires and everything. But now they make one little incision down here and they stick a rod in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Bob, astronomers have confirmed the most distant object from the sun. How far away do you think it is? So they discovered it a couple of years ago, but now they've been tracking its orbit for 2 years. So that was long enough to map out its orbit. So now they know how far it gets from the sun. It's a Kuiper Belt object.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. I was thinking distant galaxy. But how far away is it?
In our solar system. But
in our solar system. So let's see. So the Oort cloud, I think that's a full light year away. So let's go with a third of a light year.
Oh, you're on crack. So the Kuiper Belt is not. First of all, the Oort cloud.
That's outside the Kuiper Belt, but
it's outside the Kuiper Belt. It's 135 AU. That's it's called far out. They had to call it far out because the previous record holder at 123 AU was called far out. So this is even farther. And it could be big enough to be a dwarf planet. So the
But not a planet. But not a planet.
So, no, it's definitely not a planet. You know, it may be big enough to be a dwarf planet. How far out does the Kuiper Belt go?
I don't know, 50 light years.
It goes from 30 light years, so by definition, like the orbit of Neptune,
30 AU.
to 30 AU to about 1,000 AU. That's the Kuiper Belt, and it is,
Okay.
you know, it is a ring. You know, it is a belt. Whereas the Oort cloud is a shell, like a spherical
Right.
shell, and that goes from.
That's a light year about. Isn't that about a light year out?
Well, it's not a thin shell; it's a thick shell. It
Yeah,
goes
sure.
from about 1,000 AU to about 100,000 AU. So anywhere from 28 light days to 1.5 light years. That's the whole thing. Is the Oort cloud.
Okay,
But-
so then why the number I've heard that was a light year? So that's closer to the extreme distance, and far from the closest.
Yeah, I mean,
Oort
it gets a lot
cloud.
closer, you know, than I thought. And then, but you know, we've never visualized the Oort cloud. We've only inferred its existence.
Right, we've never seen it.
So we've never seen
never
anything
seen
in
anything.
the Oort cloud. Yeah,
Right.
we just know it's probably there because comets come from somewhere. So this is that big, vast cloud of things that
Right.
long period comets come from. But that's it. We only have.
It's amazing. I mean, that's
inferential-
a quarter of the distance to the next star. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, more than that, you know, if it goes out to 1.5 light years, it's like a
yeah,
third,
less.
more like a third.
That's awesome.
Right.
Do you guys ever feel like that vast distance fear, you know, like being super small?
No.
You never felt that?
No,
You guys don't
I don't.
feel
It
much, do
doesn't.
you?
I mean, it doesn't provoke fear in me. Or I know you get anxious. You get that infinite perspective vortex feeling when
Yeah.
you start to think about stuff like that. But it is weird. I mean, the thing that really puts things into perspective, and you know, in terms of like wrapping your head around how big space is that one. There's a website you can go to where you're on a
Yeah.
beam of light traveling at the speed of light, starting at the sun.
Yep.
And, you know, when you actually watch it for 8 minutes
Yeah.
before you get to the Earth, like you zip past Mercury, you zip
Mercury.
past Venus. So you have some kind of idea how fast you're going. And then you're going at that speed for a full 8 minutes before you get to the Earth. And then you go past the Earth. And now it's going to take you a lot longer to get to Mars. So imagine doing that for 28 days,
Yeah.
and that's where the Oort cloud begins. You know, it really gives you an idea of how freaking big space is. You still
Yeah.
can't wrap your head around it, but you know, you get it adds a little bit to your perspective.
It gives you a little perspective. I like that.
Yeah.
You guys are probably seeing this, but it lets you zoom out to like the size of the Earth, and you can zoom in to the size of an electron.
Yeah.
And then you see all of the animals and trees and creatures that live on all these different levels, you know, and it gives you some perspective on how big things are.
Mhm.
I read a cool news item today. It said that they came up with a drug that can treat obesity and have people lose up to 20% of their body weight.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because it basically manipulates the hunger center of your brain to not be as hungry. And they're going into phase 2 trial, but you know, it's working on everyone
Wow.
they're giving it to. Yeah.
Wow.
That could be amazing. Now, you know, the thing about that, it's not just, you know, helping people's individual health. That's fantastic. But when you think about the aggregate cost of overeating, you know, and the unhealthiness of obesity, you know, the taxing nature that it has just on a government's finances, you know, it turns into billions and billions of dollars. And
yeah, I mean, you know, talk to me when you finish phase 3 trials. You know, we've been here
I hear
before,
you, I know.
but it's
like
it's encouraging. I hope it works and it's safe and there's no downside and everything. And then we have to see, like, does it work for people who are overweight but not obese, or you know, like where's the cutoff? and then what happens when you go off of it? You know, so it's there's still some questions to be answered. But if we could crack that, you know, especially
be
for like, even if
fantastic.
it's just for like the most obese people, like we could, you know, treat them medically so that they could very reliably get down to a more of a healthful weight.
Yeah.
That you're
Yeah,
right.
'cause-
That could have, you know, reduce tremendously the number of people with diabetes, and then therefore all of the complications of diabetes. It could
Yeah.
be huge. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm taking care of our mom, and so I hang with her often, and I often will watch my 600-pound life with her.
Yeah. There's Evan.
Yo,
Evan!
Hey, so
Glenn,
how's it
You're
going,
at
man?
Ed's house.
good.
Welcome.
Given my
Evan.
phony background here. Sorry to interrupt in the middle.
Oh, you're not at Ed's house. I
Hang.
thought you were at Ed's house.
Yeah, right. No. Here I am.
You fooled me. That background looked real.
Long story short, I had a tax appointment with the client. It actually wrapped up a little early. I'm like, great, I can actually make it in time. Well, I got a call then from a game designer because for my other podcast, Which Came First, we're putting together a virtual game design conference, and they had a little window. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do that quick. So I did that. I threw on the phony game background for the conference because I didn't want to have to explain all the stuff. And now I'm here. So hi.
Okay. How you doing?
Hi. Thanks for letting me be late. Sorry, everyone.
Sure. So we're
Well,
talking about
let's see.
that drug to decrease your
The
appetite.
obesity,
That's-
anti-obesity.
That
drug.
I mean, because
Ooh,
those people.
sign
I mean,
me up.
I've sat with my mom, watch a lot of those damn shows, man. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it's really scary.
mind numbing, but it's scary. And these people, they have such a pathological need to overeat. I mean, when you're 700 pounds, I mean, that's just a level that is clearly there's stuff going on, and it's so and often they die.
of course,
because they can't lose the weight they need to lose in order to be a candidate for the surgery, and these people have such horrible impediments to losing weight because of psychological reasons, that anything like that to decrease their appetite would
To
be
what degree
wonderful.
did Perry kind of suffer with that debilitation?
Perry was. I don't know. I don't know that Perry had anything like pathological. I think his was largely. He basically grew up without parenting, and his eating habits were horrible. He had the eating habits of a
Terrible.
2-year-old. I mean,
Right.
like literally, like that's
Yeah, they were weird.
it was bad. And there were times where he lost significant weight.
Yeah.
But it was
But he
again,
also,
it was not
it
sustainable.
fluctuated. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I can't help
Right.
but,
Then he got sick, and then like it was all bets were off.
I know, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it always concerned me, for all the time that I knew him. That was
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
a concern.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm concerned about. I don't want to name names, but we have a mutual friend I'm really concerned about as well. I mean, it's very easy to slowly gain weight and have it just be this slow process that you're not like, like the last year I gained. I mean, legit, man. I want to lose 25 pounds after COVID. COVID destroyed me. I mean, I've been so bored. I've been literally eating out of absolute boredom. And I got myself like. I developed a sweet tooth over COVID. I'm eating like more sweet cereals than I want to. It just sucks. It just sucks. I was doing so well. I was hiking with my kids all the time and everything, and then COVID hit, and we're like, "Well, what do you want to do?" There's nothing to do. Just sit around and
In
eat.
a house full of food.
Yeah.
Hey,
Stocks
yeah,
are overstocked with food.
You'd
We're
stock
still,
your house
know.
with food, and then
we're
hang
still
out
eating
there
all the rice I
time.
bought. I bought more rice. That first week was so ridiculous. How everyone was freaking out, going to the supermarket, and there's nothing on the shelves. And I'm like, well, there's lentils and rice.
crazy.
That's what I'm going to buy, just in case, because you never
Those
know.
are good.
Hey, lentils
They
are
last.
delicious if you know
Beans.
how to cook them.
They last. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
I also like. What do you call it? Like you, Steve. You remember our grandmother used to cook lentils, and it would be like mud soup. Remember that?
I loved it though.
We liked it because
Yeah.
it had a good flavor, but there was no like
The Italian bread.
culinary. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Italian
you
bread
gotta
saved
use
it.
you got if you eat anything with Italian bread, it's pretty good.
Yeah, but I just remember like that stuff, like it just, it was like oatmeal consistency.
Well, the thing is, we grew up with grandma's cooking. She wasn't a good cook. At the end of the day,
Mm.
in retrospect, she was very basic.
Yeah.
And again, when we were kids, that was all fine. But like she would cook lentils. It was lentils. It was you say it was mud soup. Now, I cook a lot of this like similar things. Like I cook lentils. We don't just make lentils. You got to make it with, onions and
you got to spice
stuff
it.
you put in it. Yeah, you know.
And you don't. It doesn't need much. I mean, and they are very healthy. But my God, they are jet fuel. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Every time I eat lentils, I'm like lifting out of. I'm lying in bed and I'm lifting off of the bed. It's funny how like there's certain foods that totally trigger your gut biome.
Have you had the bishop stew that we make, Jay?
Bishop's stew. What's in it?
It's like rice and lentils. It's an Armenian dish.
No, I haven't had it.
Very, very good. Did you know that rice-a-roni? Josh,
yes.
my wife just told me. You know about rice-a-roni?
Yeah. San Francisco treat.
Yeah.
Yes. You know where that came from?
San Francisco.
The phrase rice-a-roni?
No. Where the product.
No.
Middle East, probably.
Yeah, it was in the people. The guy who made it, learned how to make rice pilaf from an Armenian woman, and then decided to put it in a box.
That's a great idea.
What's in the box?
Rice-a-roni.
Yeah, because rice and macaroni, I guess rice or
Yep.
Right.
So for some reason that made me think of
lots of people.
Sriracha. You guys, you like Sriracha, right, Bob?
Yeah.
That I read a little bit about that guy. First off, he never patented
Mr. Sriracha.
The guy that invented it didn't patent the recipe to create it, and he's still like the guy is so rich it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew how much. Maybe somebody could look it up real quick. The guy that made it, like he's so stinking rich because people constantly buy it. It's not something you buy once. It's something you buy once a month if you like it. You know what I mean? Because it's so damn useful. It goes on everything almost. So he didn't, but he's still so rich, even though people literally other brands sell it. And they basically kind of copy the little chicken rooster, the logo and everything. Like you don't even know, if it's the original or not. But Mike, that is such an amazing condiment. I don't know. Do you like spicy food, Steve?
No.
Evan, you ever use it?
No, I really don't. But I don't eat it.
What do you guys
How hot
eat?
is it?
What do you talk to me about? What food you guys enjoy? What am I missing here? You don't like spicy food?
It had a little bit. It has to be. I don't like it if it hurts. Like I don't know why people enjoy food to hurt. I don't like to.
That's a good.
That detracts from my enjoyment of the food.
But it's a good pain.
It isn't. It's pain. I don't like it. But
oh no, man!
If
it adds a layer that's awesome.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I cook like I use cayenne pepper and red pepper and black pepper, and there are lots of dishes where I've made many times, and I've tried them with different levels of spices, and absolutely like adding that. Like when we make, the ziti and broccoli, if you don't add that red pepper, it's missing something. You got to have that little bit of red pepper in there. But if you overdo it, then it's too much. Then
I agree. I don't like it crazy. Bob is a death level. Bob can eat the hard hitting stuff. I don't go for that.
Oh yeah, man.
Harissa,
you want something harsh? Harissa, and I've got a spice. Liz got me some spices, some pepper spices for Christmas, and one of it, and it's a mixture, of all the some ghost peppers, habanero, and on the label it says this will melt. This will melt your face. It says I can't feel my face. To give you an idea, and that's a harsh, man. That's rough for me.
I just don't get that.
No, I hate that.
It adds a fun layer, to food. I mean, it's not like I'm stabbing myself. I mean, it's it's fun pain. It's. I mean, I don't go overboard with it. I mean, I'm not going to go. You're not going to see me on a video on YouTube eating one of those crazy ghost peppers.
But just
that's
little
not
bit
going to happen.
Of zing is good.
Yeah, of
2
course.
million Scovilles.
Yeah, it gets it.
2 million Scovilles. No, that's like acid at that point.
No, but I agree with you, Steve. I don't like it where it becomes the thing about the meal. There is a flavor that
distracts from it.
But Sriracha is really not that spicy. I mean, maybe I've deadened myself to it a little bit, but I just think it goes with. I mean, it goes on sushi. to like soups. You know what I mean?
It's great
It's
on eggs.
Yeah, eggs
like
is great.
scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
24-hour spicy meatball challenge.
Spicy
Yeah.
meatballs.
Spicy meatballs.
As long as I'm remote from everyone else.
Okay.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah. The bean eating contest. Okay.
So when are you guys going to get solar on your houses?
It's a good. So I'll give you a quick story. So Bob's daughter Ashley, one of her best friends, Kate, that she grew up with, who I know very well. So they came to visit Ashley and her boyfriend Cormac, and so I got to talk to her. We're catching up, and she, her boyfriend works for a solar company, and he gave me the whole the real story.
Really?
Solar, yeah, it was really interesting.
What's the real story?
I mean, the real story is it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like he's like, there is absolutely no reason why people shouldn't do it. It really does. He was like explaining like how the power goes out to the grid and how they deal with it, and how it's all beneficial. Like the more people that have it, that there's a lot of things about the grid and everything that they didn't know.
It actually is cost effective for the utility company. It actually lowers the price of electricity for your neighbors, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wrote about it, which is why I'm bringing it up. And again, it's so funny. The propaganda forces are so arrayed. Like everything's got to be bad about solar. So I did like a deep dive review of all the financial aspects of getting solar, and then somebody's comment was, "Oh, you're elitist. Some people can't afford solar." Like, all right, it's right there in the freaking blog post. You can get solar with zero money.
Yeah.
If you can't afford to buy, here's the thing: if you have the cash, if you can afford to buy it outright, that's your best option.
Yeah.
It depends on your state and everything. There are some variables there. You want to do a little bit of research for your state. Are there subsidies? How many panels do you need to get on your particular roof in order to supply so much energy, blah, blah, blah. But for, at this point, for most people, it's, the payback time is not that long. And then, and then you basically have free electricity from that point going forward. That's the most cost-effective thing to do, is just to buy it outright. If you have to finance it, then it depends on the financing. Right now, money's cheap. The interest rates are really low. So I know a lot of people at this point, you basically can finance solar, and then the money you save on electricity pays your finance charges, right? So it's basically just you're paying one for one, and then once you pay for it, then you get free electricity. But if you don't want to put any money down or do any financing, you can lease the solar. Basically, the way that works is you give the company permission to put solar panels on your roof. They pay for everything, but you agree to buy 100% of the electricity that's produced by those panels. So the only way you get screwed there is if you produce more electricity than you use. So just don't do that. I mean, they should do an analysis and not produce more electricity than you're currently using. Or if you have a state where you don't get 100% reimbursement for the electricity that you use. Because the idea is that when you produce more electricity than you consume, you give it to the grid and you get credits. And then when you use more electricity than you produce, you use those credits to buy that electricity. So it's a 1-for-1. And then, so it averages out over the course of a year, and you're good, right? So your electricity payment will just go down. So the only thing you will experience is your electricity costs go down, because usually they'll sell it to you for like 20% cheaper or whatever than if you're buying it entirely off the grid. You also can avoid a lot of peak, costs, etc. Again, depending on the state, some states charge a premium for peak usage. So if that's when a battery for peak shaving can come in handy.
Yeah.
And of course, if you if you own your own panels and you definitely batteries is helpful, so that you never have to buy electricity off the grid. You could shift your production to when you use it. It's totally cost effective. There's like literally no reason not to do it at this point if you have the right conditions.
The right angle of roof and everything.
Yeah.
And it's all moving in the right direction. I mean,
it's only going to get better. And it's only going to get better. Yeah.
The more people buy it, the less the overall cost of it, because manufacturing goes up. The other thing is that the efficiency is getting better. They're still figuring out ways to get more efficiency. And then
it's creeping up every year. And not only that, not only are they getting cheaper and more efficient, when they get more efficient, think about it. That means you need fewer panels to power your house. So that means the installation is cheaper.
Yeah.
Right. If they were twice as efficient, it would cost half as much because you wouldn't need as many panels to power your house. And of course, you get an electric car, then you could power the car off your panels as well. So you consider that in the mix as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
solar panels were the first thing that made me realize just how much energy output the sun has. Now think about it. You have a solar panel that's, about 8 times the size of the monitor you're looking at right now, right?
Yeah.
About. That one solar panel is collecting energy from the sun. And you think about the amount of energy that one of them collects. And how many do you have on your roof, Steve? About 20?
Something like that, maybe 30.
Yeah, 20 to 30, say, depending on the size of your house and everything. And that's powering your house, right? That can power your house.
Yeah,
now,
it's 100%. It's producing 100% of the electricity that I use.
You are a dot on the map on Earth, on a planet that's going around the sun. Think about all that solar radiation that's coming off that. I mean, it's ridiculous amounts of energy that are just being thrown into outer space and does nothing.
But then the knock-on benefits are huge because, we're at that point with penetration of renewables where it's hugely advantageous. We might get to a saturation point, because it's intermittent, where we need grid storage or we need baseload or whatever, but that's, put that aside. We're not anywhere near that, so don't worry about that for now. But we could get to like 40, 50, whatever percent penetration of renewables without having to worry about that. We're at now, what are we at, like 8%, 10%?
No, in 2018, we were at 11%.
11%, yeah, okay. Yeah. So we have a long way to go. And what that means is that will displace the worst energy, right? Because the last thing they turn on is like the coal fire plant, right?
Yeah,
it's the dirtiest, most expensive energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be the first thing that they turn off when it's not needed because so many people, have solar. Well, the other thing I was going over was the secondary costs, right? So now we're just talking about just for the individual end user, it's cost effective for your electricity bill, right? Yeah. Either way, there may be upfront costs that you get paid later if you buy it yourself, or you could just immediately have a reduction in your electricity bill if you want to go that route. But for the society, here's a couple of things. So the healthcare costs of air pollution. Let's talk about that. The healthcare costs and the economic costs of air pollution. So now this is not just like the power sector, it's also the transportation sector.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. If you had, the more we can go to clean electricity for both of those, the better. This is the potential. The EPA estimates that just the Clean Air Act rules will save the United States $82 billion over a decade.
Yeah.
But the total costs, like the total healthcare costs, is per year is in the hundreds of billions of dollars for the U.S.
Wow.
So think about that. That's the order of magnitude of money that we could potentially save. Lost productivity is most of that, but also direct healthcare costs. That's kind of like about $100 billion of that is direct healthcare costs. That's huge. That's a huge societal cost. Even if we cut that in half, that's massive. That pays for a lot of subsidies, for buying solar panels and electric cars. The amount of money we stand to save. And you'll notice I haven't even mentioned global warming. That's even before we factor in global warming. Yeah. And economists calculate that the savings there is going to be in the trillions.
Yeah.
So switching over to clean power generation and clean transportation has the potential to save trillions of dollars a decade in the U.S. And again, you magnify that, by a huge number if you talk about the whole world. Anything that we invest in clean energy is going to get paid 100-fold over the next 50 years. I mean, it's massive.
But yet, the fallibility of the human brain. I am talking to people, of course, on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the XL pipe. You know, Biden signed the executive order to get rid of the XL pipeline expansion. Right? It's an expansion.
Yeah.
You know, it was conceived here's what I remember reading last week. It was conceived in 2008 when gas prices were at an all-time high, and we don't need it anymore. And they're saying he signed that piece of paper and 11,000 people lost their jobs. And I'm like, so my response is, well, the devil's in the details. You know, you could just say that, sure, but these are temp jobs. These are 4 to 8 month jobs. After that gig is over, you know, these guys laying all that pipe, then 50 people, 30 to 50 people would have permanent jobs from that project.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so I'm making the point, we shouldn't be investing in old, dirty technology.
Yeah.
You know, we should be
200-year-old technology. Screw that.
Yeah. And no matter
Where's our
what
nuclear
I say,
reactors?
and it totally, like, this is, you know, I could get just so pissed off because I'm like, do you have a response to my point? Like, what do you have to say about all these facts that I laid out? And they're like, you know, then they just come back with the circular thinking, like, what about all those people? What are they going to do? And I'm like, what did all the switchboard operators do? What did all the people that took care of horses do when the car came in? You know, what did every technological advancement do? It made things less expensive. Some people lost their jobs, their current jobs.
But it always creates more jobs.
Right.
That's the whole point. The creative destruction of the free market. That's the thing. Like, they're so free market. It's the same people who are always crying about the free market, but not when it cuts against their sacred cows, right? It's like, you know, coal jobs are going away because of the free market. It's not because of government regulation. It's because nobody wants to freaking coal.
So the other thing, here's another thing that blows my mind. So I said to this particular person, I'm like, so what you're saying is you want the government to prop up a dying technology so 11,000 people can keep their jobs. That's what you want? I said, but you know, we're all responsible for our careers, right? You know, like if your industry is going out of business, like check it out in Silicon Valley, companies, when Google decides we're not going to invest in that anymore, we're going to move in this direction, a dozen companies can go out of business overnight.
Yeah.
You know, the government doesn't swoop in and go, hey, whoa, Google, you know, what are these people going to do for work? You know, and then of course, you know, Steve, you're talking about all the healthcare implications and all this other stuff. And Steve, I can't convince this person to see it because it's political in his head. It's not facts. It has nothing to do with facts and empirical evidence and what's best for humanity, and everything to do with I'm fighting against Biden because he's a pedophile. Oh my God.
Yeah, but
if that's your starting point, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, but solar. What I got to say, solar schmoller, because I'm waiting for small modular nuclear reactors.
Don't wait. I mean, those will be nice, but we can't wait.
They got them now. They've got test beds now. They're predicting by the end of this decade.
20 years before they're generating electricity to the grid, Bob.
Got to start sometime.
I'm just saying. Imagine you've got a small modular nuclear reactor that can like fit in your van, right? This is how small it is. You're buried in your backyard, and it's shielded and it's safe. That little reactor can power your one home, for about 30 to 40 years. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having your power source for the next 3 or 4 decades?
Right there. Solar panels, Bob.
I don't
you
see it
install a
happening.
good set of solar panels, and they will power your home for the next. I mean, they usually promise them for 20 years, but they'll last longer than that. They'll last 30 years.
I'd rather have a nuclear.
And they're cheaper. It's cheaper though, Bob. Why would you want something that costs 100 times more than just putting panels on your roof?
I think
it's something that's small, buried in your backyard. The zombie apocalypse hits, you're good, you're fine. It's raining, doesn't matter. It's overcast. There's a super volcano that spews ash into the atmosphere, doesn't matter. The sun is completely blocked. So what? You got your reactor in your backyard. You're good for decades.
Bob, it's not going to happen. A fusion reactor is going to happen way before people start burying that dangerous material in their backyards because of fear.
Oh yeah, I mean, in terms of like having it available to a household, yeah, who the hell knows how long that's going to take? But they're going to have one ready for the moon by the end of this decade. I mean, this is their idea to power outposts on Moon, Mars.
Yeah, the nuclear industry is moving in the direction of small modular reactors. Yes. But that's partly because they need to in order to compete with solar and wind, because it's the renewables are so cheap. No one's going to invest in nuclear at that price point of the big, massive reactors. So like the UK is building, I think, 20 these small modular reactors over the next 10 years. I think that's great. But the thing is, we got to do both. There's no instead of or waiting or whatever. The thing is, solar is cost effective now.
Yeah.
Figure out the best way to do it and install. We should be massively installing solar on as many rooftops as possible to maximize. That's the low hanging fruit. It's low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
Just do it.
I agree. And people,
Bob, I don't disagree with what you're saying. What I'm saying is people won't do it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
People will not do that. People won't invest like that because they're afraid of it. And it's really sad that they are, because it is actually, why not make it more on the town level than on the home level?
We may see that. Well, you bundle a bunch of these like 10 kilowatt class, modular reactors, and you could do, each reactor, they said, can do 3 or 4 houses for a decade. Well, imagine you get 5 or 10 of those. You could do every house in your neighborhood, for even if it's like for 5 years. It's amazing to have that much power just right there. That's safe and
clean,
and it doesn't rely on anything. Weather and sun is irrelevant. But yeah, Steve, I agree. We
got to be
both.
cost effective
And a lot, and I don't know what these are going to cost, but I think you'll see some millionaires and billionaires with these reactors in their backyards for sure. I think absolutely. I mean, if I had $1 million to throw around, I would absolutely get one of those.
I'll go live in Musk's backyard.
Fallout 4 is basically based on that technology. That's why when you're playing Fallout 4 and you run into a building that looks like it's been, blown up 200 years ago, and there's a light bulb running,
the elevator still works
because there is a reactor, buried underground in that neighborhood, right, Steve?
Well, that's also why the cars blow up, because they have a nuclear battery in them, and they will blow up on you if you shoot them or if they get too hot.
Yeah,
who wants to see my stitches?
Cool.
Who wants to see my stitches?
I don't know if I want to see your stitches. It depends.
Anybody that gets squeamish, look away for the next 10 seconds.
Oh boy.
Chat loves
Anytime
it.
you get that
Chat
kind of
wants it.
Right,
of course the chat wants it.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I'm going to puke. I'm going to puke.
Oh,
I have 3 stitches, guys. It's a joke.
It looks like a spider bite.
It looks like 3 bugs on your wrist.
Jay,
I know, it's amazing how
Jay, they
the
missed the vasectomy there. Wrong spot.
But, I know, right? Well, they went all the way through. Right?
It's very long.
It's so itchy. Like I had to take my Band-Aid off just to look at it because it makes me feel a little bit better. So the doctor said it takes 2 weeks for the skin to adhere to itself. That's why they leave the stitches in so long. What do you know about stitches, Steve? You know that stitches get stitches, right?
Stitching time saves 9.
Have you done stitching? Have you done it?
Yeah. In medical school. Yeah.
Is it scary?
No. That's scary.
Medical school? Did you stitch up a cadaver? Was that what you did?
No. We do surgical rotation. So
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that
I didn't think you were a cutter.
You have to do surgery. That's a basic rotation, and like doing stitches is like the one thing they let the students do.
Yeah,
no, I've stitched up plenty of stuff. Yeah, it's not hard.
Steve, so do you think that you could, if you were in a knife fight and you didn't want to go to the hospital? And I'm being serious. I'm curious if this actually happened.
Could I stitch a wound?
Could you stitch yourself? Is that even possible? You see it in all these movies. The tough guy stitching himself.
Yeah. Hurt like hell.
That's a good. They should make a flesh sewing machine.
Wow.
Right? Think about that.
Well, that's what staples are for. The staple, the chunk, the staple.
They had that in one of those Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, right? Didn't they have someone doing that, stitching together human skin with a machine?
Just get some bio glue. Just glue the damn thing.
Bob, you are dreaming. You are dreaming.
What are you talking about?
Some Gorilla Glue.
I've never seen it used. I've never seen anybody that had it used. It's like a military emergency.
So what? We still got it.
It exists. The thing you have to realize, Jay, it depends on what you're stitching, right? If you're doing your leg, nobody cares. They'll staple it. If you're doing a face where it has to be perfect, you want to really minimize the scar. That's when you do, there's a special techniques you can use. Where you stitch entirely under the skin, and that's when you might use glue. Where you want to get a perfect result. It's just not worth the hassle if you're just stitching up something on your wrist or something. Just throw a few stitches in there. Who cares if you have a little bit of scarring? That's the trickiest technique I learned. I actually did it, but it's where it's subcutaneous stitching. You actually go completely subcutaneously, so you don't go through the surface.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Thank God people like doing this stuff, because I would not enjoy any of that.
And I actually did learn how to sew. Like, I applied my surgical sewing skills that I learned in my rotations to
real line fabric.
Your sock,
sewing fabric and leather, and and making stuff. It came in handy for LARPing.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
It did. I made all my leather stuff. It's the same thing. Once you know how to do the knots and how to do, the different kinds of stitches and everything. The principles.
I've done the same thing, Steve. Throughout the years, I'm not going to pay someone to fix 3 inches of a seam that came out. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Evan.
Yeah.
Tax season is upon us.
Oh.
And I was thinking it might be interesting if you say, hey, they changed this, watch out for this year type of thing. I'd like to hear if anything wacky happened over the last year.
Did anything wacky happen over the last year?
No,
yes,
I don't mean that. I mean
everything.
in the world of taxes. I'm not talking about the rest of the world.
So I'll give you a tax tip. Every time I come on Friday, I'll give you one tax tip. How's that?
Okay.
We'll do that kind of thing. All right. So we had this thing called the Economic Impact Protection Program, stimulus payments. Some people in America know them as. Last year, some people received upwards of $1,200 per tax filer. This would have been around April or May, middle of the year. And again, another stimulus package was passed, and another economic impact payment went out in very late December and early January to the tune of up to $600. Those are the general facts. Okay. They base that information on your 2018 or your 2019 tax return data. Now, there are some people who did not qualify for it based on their 2018 or 2019 tax return data. However, and I've already had a couple instances of this, my clients, based on their 2020 tax data, do qualify for it. If you're in that category in which you did not qualify for it in 2018 or 2019, but you do based on your 2020 income tax.
Oh boy, you already lost.
You get a credit. You're entitled to take a credit, a refundable credit on your 2020 tax return for those amounts that you were not eligible for the first time that these programs were introduced.
Oh, interesting.
So they broadened the parameters by which people will qualify for this. So speak to your accountant or TurboTax people or whomever you're dealing with. If you did not get your stimulus payments because you were ineligible based on prior tax return information, you might now be eligible based on your current tax return information.
Okay.
There's your tip for the day.
That's a good tip.
That's a good tip.
And it is timely because this is the year that we're going to have to do it.
And again, this could mean upwards of $1,200 plus $1,800 per person as a refundable tax credit, which means that if you owe money, it would be reduced by that amount. If you're getting a refund, it'll be increased by that amount. And if for any reason you don't even are required to file, you can still file and get the money. That's how you would get it. So.
Now, Evan, what about those people out there that spent the majority of their income on Legos? Is there anything that you could do to help them?
Any Lego tax credit?
Yeah, anything.
If you are in the business of Legos, then your purchasing of Legos is absolutely a tax deductible consideration.
Oh, good. It is good. I'm very proud of it.
Your income comes from Legos.
Correct. That's right. It's considered an proper and ordinary business expense.
Yeah.
Relevant to your line of work.
There are actually people you go to Dragon Con, there's people that just sell Lego figures for $5 each. And they're probably, I don't know how they get that many, but they have to have some way of buying them in bulk. I don't know. We have a quiz but I think it's time to do Evan's puzzle. That's what I think we got to do. It
was good timing, Jay, because somebody finally did guess it right before you went into the point about the taxes. So the timing was really good. And there was a lot of guesses on Discord, mostly I've seen about this one.
Where is it?
Where is the puzzle?
Yeah,
It's the flag behind
It's
it.
here.
that's
This
the
is
puzzle.
it. That's the puzzle.
It looks like it looks blurry from me.
It is blurry.
I mean, I
It's
think
blurry for everyone.
I think if you zoom in, it's not a flag. It's like 3 different objects.
Oh, it's a flag, and that was one of the hints I gave at the very, very beginning. This is most certainly a flag. It's not
Okay.
meant to be anything else. It wasn't meant to
it's
try
folded.
to trick you into thinking something else. It
It's
has
a
some
folded
folds
flag.
to it. You have all seen this flag. Most people watching this stream have seen this particular
Specific object.
Yes.
Is it the Olympic United States flag of all time?
No, not Olympics. No.
Is it the
Yeah, I mean,
actual?
it looks familiar.
Can you
Mhm.
zoom
Like it's
in?
the background of something.
So this is cropped from the image, and obviously I will do the reveal from.
Oh, you're
which
going to uncrop.
I am going to uncrop it.
I got it. I got it.
What is it, Jay?
In the movie
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Dynamite,
Napoleon Dynamite.
the kung fu teacher is wearing American flag like loose pants,
Yeah.
like 80s loose pants. Remember those loose pants?
Oh yeah, sure. Parachute pants.
And
puffy
it's
pants.
a picture of those pants.
Wow, Jay. That's a good guess. That's along the lines of many of the who's that noisy guesses
Yeah.
that you get in
Okay.
which people kind of
What's
stab
the
you.
quote he
Thanks.
says though? What's the quote he says though?
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh God.
God.
Ian, you got me.
Come on, you know it. You want a
I
Fries
can't
with
remember.
a roundhouse kick to the face.
Oh yes, that was good.
The Discord chat about this puzzle got into someone thought this maybe it was a flag on one of the rockets, the Atlas rockets, and we started talking about SpaceX, and they started to go in the correct direction towards, and then the subject of space suits might have come up, and that started to become closer to the truth as to what this is.
What is it?
Is that the patch on the spacesuits?
There we are.
Oh,
Here we
that
are.
is awesome.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
nice.
I
Yep.
never
Now,
would have guessed that.
Who is this? Who's that?
That's-
Who's
Frankie Gismore?
Come
That
on.
is Buzz Aldrin.
Yes, it's Buzz Aldrin. Yes,
Yes.
very good. So many people think this is Neil Armstrong. No, Neil Armstrong's the little guy in the reflection there taking the picture of
Yeah.
Buzz.
Yeah. As far as I
Oh,
know,
Buzz.
no selfie has been taken on the moon. Is that true?
Did anyone turn the camera around and take a
I don't
picture of
know.
themselves?
I'd like to
I don't
know. Oh, did you guys see? I don't know if Bob may have seen it because I found this on Reddit, but they have identified the earliest selfie, and it was like a guy with a long stick pushing a button on a camera, like a tripod, the old wooden ones. And they
Mhm.
were like, this has got to be the first selfie, right? Because they've never found an image of anybody doing that in that era, which I think is really cool.
What was the year?
I think I'm
Like
trying
the
to remember.
1800s. Like
Yeah, it had to be in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was no it wasn't selfie. There was no term.
No, there was no selfie,
Obviously.
but it was a selfie though. You know
It
what I mean?
was a selfie, right? Before there were selfies, it was a selfie. I'm not surprised. How many? I mean, think about it. You over history and how many people took the billions of probably photographs that were ever snapped. A lot of those had to be selfies.
Yeah.
Just by
Mhm.
numbers alone, you
Of
would
course.
think that some of those had some people just turned their little camera around.
The first selfie was Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, he did take a selfie in the Sistine Chapel.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did. But it was like basically it was like a just his flesh. It wasn't his.
I mean, what is the first self-portrait?
That's a good question.
Some caveman somewhere,
Well, they
Some-
did the hand thing,
or maybe among the glyphs or the hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs?
Yeah, Egypt.
Oh, hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs.
Hi.
Isn't it hieroglyphs?
I don't know.
Or not
Middle
even the right
Renaissance,
term.
it
Yeah.
says. Middle
Middle
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Bob, I'm sorry. Are we boring you?
A little bit.
Well,
Are
hang
we gonna
on.
do the quiz then?
Bob
Yeah,
said.
let's do the quiz.
Buzz says hi, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
bud.
just noticed the statue behind you, Bob. What is wrong with me? How did I not see that when we
Oh, let's see
started?
that. Zoom in on that.
All right, let's pop out the link to the quiz.
Cool.
Yeah, I did. So everybody, again, it's darkenergy.games. There should be a link in your chat, respectively. I'll post it again. And I sent our link. If
Thanks,
everybody
Ian.
saw that in the
Right.
chat. The quiz should be up. Is nobody see it? A couple people are claiming that it's not
Go to.
Let's see.
live. Although, did everybody get into the quiz thus
Oh, I
far?
have to put my profile in. That's right.
Yeah,
it
do
worked.
please create a profile. We should have said this earlier. But
Yes, profile yourself. Strike a profile.
I entered the game.
not live. It says game over. Oh, you see it now?
Game over, man.
Oh, and well done, Matthias, on Discord for being the first one to guess.
So apparently on
Matthias.
Discord, everybody said just reload, and it does show up if it says not live or something to that effect. But it should be.
Reload.
Oh, cool. So it says waiting for SGU community live stream Friday, February 12th,
Mhm.
2021. That's cool. I like how we're getting more specific here.
Mine says, "What are you doing here? You have no
Ready to
business
synchronize."
being."
Don't forget to turn your music on because I think it increases the enjoyability of the quiz,
The immersion, as they say.
as they say.
The immersion conversion.
Immersion. Okay.
Somebody said they're still having trouble.
Really?
Somebody said game over,
I
man.
don't see the quiz link. Okay, I'll post it again. Again, it's darkenergy.games. Here you go. Here you go. Darkenergy.games. If it says no quiz, just refresh. I don't know why it would say that. Usually it goes off without a hitch, and I can see it. Actually, let me see. Games.
While Ian is doing that, did you know that if you don't bend your joints for long enough that they will freeze in position?
Really?
Yes, I did know that.
Yep. You have to use you. That's why staying limber, part of that is just bending your joints. Not like weight training or anything, but just literally physically bending keeps the fluidity in your joints.
Yeah, it's called the contracture. So we see that in patients who are paralyzed. If part of physical therapy is just physically moving the joints so that they don't freeze up while we're waiting for their muscles to recover. For example. But I've seen patients whose joints they're past the point of no return. They're locked in place, and that's
there's nothing that can be done medically.
Well, I
Steve?
mean, maybe orthopedically, you'd have to literally break them to get them to move.
Shit.
So what's actually holding it in place? Is like some super glue?
Yeah, basically. I mean, the tendons tighten up, but also like the joints will freeze up at some point.
Yeah, volcanic ash gets in there, Bob.
We
It just
need
locks it
joint
down.
lubrication.
So for anybody who still says it's not working, click on the logo. It seems like if you click on the SGU logo, it goes to the previous games, and then it will auto refresh, and you should see the game.
Oh, good. That's a good hack. I'll tell Frank.
I don't
about
know.
this.
Yeah, I don't know why. So try that again. Like I said, you go to the page, it doesn't show anything. You click the logo, it goes to show the past games, and then it should refresh.
Did that woman really put Gorilla Glue on her hair? Was that
Apparently.
real?
I heard
Yes.
that. That's what I heard.
I
It
mean,
must be
what
true then.
what can they possibly do for her other than just wait for it to grow out?
No, she had to get surgery to remove
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Wait, she put super glue on her hair?
Yeah.
Gorilla glue.
Gorilla Glue spray
Oh
adhesive.
my
Yeah.
god!
Not good.
Why?
She was out of
She thought it was-
hairspray, I believe.
A
Thought it was
hairspray?
hairspray.
Ugh.
Did she
Well, no,
know
she
it
was
was
out
Gorilla
of.
Glue?
I think she knew it was, and she was just
Wow,
like, "Well, it's
that's
just a
dumb.
hold."
Oh my gosh.
But Gorilla Glue is a little more
So that why would they have to give her surgery? Like it would have done
because she
something
left it
to-
on for like a month or something like that, I believe.
Oh,
a
holy
month.
And her hair
Christ.
wasn't moving. She was like, "It's like a helmet." And she tried I think she tried alcohol. I think she tried a bunch of other stuff to try to solvents to dissolve it.
Oh, you mean she wasn't drinking alcohol?
No, she wasn't
putting her-
drinking it.
Well, yeah.
Putting it, rubbing alcohol.
Not that we're
All right.
Okay,
looks
let's try
we're
it.
doing
Yeah.
good.
Seems like the hack works. Okay, thank you, everybody. Sorry for that. We'll figure that out in post. All right, so let's synchronize. When I say click, we're going to click that synchronize button in
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click.
0 seconds.
Yes. Excellent.
Successful.
My work here is done.
Successful.
Yeah,
if
so
there's
that
anything-
she said that. Well, it didn't say not to spray it on your hair, which is why now there's so
Yep.
many products that have ridiculous instructions on them. Like don't
Yeah.
jab this in your eye, okay? But because Otherwise,
That's
someone will
infuriating.
do it.
Well, or they'll get sued because you didn't tell, because the manufacturer
right.
didn't tell them to not.
You
do
have
it.
to account for the lowest common denominator.
Contents are hot in this hot
The
coffee.
dumbest possible person who could use your product. That's who you have to prepare for.
That's ridiculous. I mean, but so what if she's
And
dead?
even
Is
that doesn't.
Is that actionable? I'm going to sue them because I sprayed glue on my hair. What the Christ did you
that would
think was
be
going to happen?
that would be a very difficult case to win, I would think. I'm not a lawyer.
That wouldn't stop a lawyer from doing it, though.
Oh, of course not. No.
That's
But
true.
only if they care about their reputation and being judged throwing it out as frivolous.
All right, what do you
Okay, I think
say?
we got 430 people in there. So why don't
Yep.
we start the game?
All right, let's do
Let's
it.
do this.
Ready? Here we go. And
Yep.
away we go. What is the rarest blood type? O, B positive, A, B negative, or TPS?
Are those platelets I'm seeing in that picture?
Nope, those are red blood cells.
Those red blood cells.
They're not called. Oh, okay.
Platelets
know-
are smaller.
Do you know
Those
why
are-
they're flattened like that?
For easier
no,
transportation.
They eject their nucleus. There's
they have
no
no nucleus.
nucleus.
But you are correct, Evan. It is so that they could creep through capillaries.
Ian, I gave you notes on a lot of this stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it says blood is red. Don't drink it.
Do
you
not
for that note.
drink anyone
Yep.
else's
Important.
blood.
And so let like 10 seconds expire. And I think we could probably say it. So it's AB negative.
What's
AB negative.
TPS?
Your TPS,
TPS, that's
reports.
from Office Space.
Toilet paper stand?
The TPS,
TPS
reports.
reports.
It doesn't mean anything in Office
Info.
Space.
I am O negative. I am the universal donor, but I can only have O negative to me. So I'm in a bad spot there. Sort of.
The next one, the Mercury missions of 1961 to 1963 were designed for what purpose? To beat the Russians in manned spaceflight, to test the Earth's magnetic field, to analyze how humans functioned in space, to test rocket engines in an oxygen-free environment.
Purpose, huh?
If you guys notice, I'm adding imagery for your viewing pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And what is the answer?
Well, I got to give him a few seconds.
Crap.
Yeah.
So a few more seconds.
I got it wrong. I'll just say that.
Well, there's two reasonable answers.
There's actually three, and Ian has them written down.
Through Mercury, NASA sought to achieve three objectives: to successfully orbit a manned spacecraft, to study man's ability to function in space, and to return both man and spacecraft safely back to Earth. The Mercury program culminated in 6 successful manned missions. Quote.
Yes. And here we go.
Oh crap! Really?
What is the best-selling video game of all time?
All time. So
I
you
mean,
see the
how
questions
are we
before I do. It's
quantifying
weird.
that? I mean,
So here are the
units,
options:
dollars? What?
Grand Theft
Wait,
Auto
What?
V,
Oh gosh!
Grand Theft Auto 5, Tetris, Minecraft, or Super Mario Bros.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to interpret that, but all right.
Best,
I think number of sales.
most units sold.
is in it.
Units.
There you go. Damn, man.
And I probably would have changed my answer.
Read the numbers,
I was
Ian.
going with dollars.
I wouldn't have guessed.
See, you're ahead, Jay. Like you're ahead by
You're
at
ahead.
least 5 seconds.
What? How? I thought it said I was 2 seconds behind.
Well, I don't know because like now
Time
it
warp.
just ended for me.
Oh,
Question
I'll
is-
shut up then.
No, it's fine.
Jay is a man of the future.
So yeah, it was Minecraft.
I never would have guessed.
So Minecraft was 200 million. Super Mario Bros. 48,240,000. Tetris is 100 million. Grand Theft Auto 5 is 140 million.
Bet you if it were dollars, it would have been Grand Theft Auto.
Pretty good.
What the hell kind of question is this?
How much is
many
Minecraft?
facial
I don't-
expressions are
Oh,
there?
how many facial expressions are
It's
there?
an ambiguous
6,
question.
20, 100, 10,000.
I will say nothing.
Yeah, I still have 12 seconds.
That was an ambiguous question, Jay. Let me just say that.
5,
Well-
4, 3,
A couple of these were.
Obviously, you could make many, many more facial expressions than that. There's every permutation combination of those.
I know, but there are 6 base, but there are 20 expressions that can combine the 6 bases together.
That's how you should have stated it some more like that. Just not are there.
But yes, there's 20. So you could see. I was going to show you a picture of like the 20 faces, and when you see it, it explains it very well. But the picture didn't show up.
Oh. I don't think it loaded. I didn't see the one for that one. Anyway, what is the longest time someone held their breath? 24 minutes, 3.45 seconds, 14 minutes, 2.17 seconds, 31 minutes, 5.28 seconds, or 9 minutes, 1.6 seconds.
Just a few more seconds.
Wow. What in the hell?
Yeah, my what's funny is when this question came up, it came with an answer already green. I gotta talk to Frank because I know he's updating.
Oh, what it said it was the answer?
Well, I mean, I know what the answers are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the answer is 24 minutes, 3.45
That's
seconds.
nuts.
Amazing.
Was achieved by Alex Segura Vendrell, I guess from Spain, in February of 2016.
He's a mutant, man. How do you do that?
No, there are exercises and techniques that you could use.
You
to
put yourself
significantly
into some
increase.
kind of
Sure,
low body state or something.
I'm sure there's techniques, but to go up to 24 minutes,
it's kind of complicated, and you should read about it if you're interested. Like, it's a hard thing to explain, but it's pretty damn cool. Like, people, there's a lot of people that can hold their breath a long time now because of the techniques that they've developed.
Really?
With no risk or damage?
Of course it's dangerous.
Well, but I mean, there was no damage to
Well, the
this
thing
guy
is,
as a result of that?
Evan, you would fall unconscious before any damage would be done.
Well, then
you would start breathing.
Start breathing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Not if you're
All
lying
right.
face down in water, which
Well,
is
that's
what they
not a good
do.
thing. Oh, to prove that they're not breathing.
Oh, yeah.
So
No
I think
bubbles,
it
right?
Stopped. So Nether.
All right, let's see what we got. Yeah. Got a bunch of 80%ers.
No hundreds, huh?
No hundos.
Wow.
Wow, with
Well,
that many people, that's
The
amazing.
facial expression.
I mean,
Yeah.
you did. I legitimately agree with you that maybe the facial expressions one was a little too. It wasn't specific enough.
Yeah.
But I do not think the video game question was vague in any way. You know what I mean? Come on.
That was fine.
It was. When you say best selling, you have to express it in either dollars or units. Because those are.
I don't know. I think the default of units is pretty obvious, though. There.
I disagree.
It didn't say the most profitable video games.
That's not has nothing to do with profits. It's the measure. You need a definition of the measure.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Minecraft sold 200 million units. You know how that game
is a great game.
It's the juggernaut.
How much does it cost?
I think $30. I was just looking that up.
Today's $30.
And how much do you think Grand Theft Auto 5
Grand Theft is
costs?
probably 60.
So double, and how many? And if you compare,
It was
those,
100 million versus 200. Is that what I said?
Yeah, but
maybe
could be
160.
close.
But Evan, check this out though, and this is legit. Minecraft has an unbelievable market. Like you could download an entire, Minecraft realm that is a game all by itself. My son.
It's a game within a game within a game. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's the game will never get boring.
Is there
Just amazing.
VR Minecraft?
You can build a computer in Minecraft.
Yeah, you can build a processor.
It's not.
neat.
You know what I mean? Because they have the red stuff, whatever you call that. They have a system where you can have switches.
Redstone. Yeah, the redstone.
The redstone.
Lines.
And so once you have
wiring.
You could make wiring and switches, and so if you could do that, then you could essentially make a computer within the game itself.
You can make the gates.
They can, Bob. They've added in the logic gates.
Yeah,
fascinating.
I
it's a lot of fun.
Looked at a video about a guy that built a processor that can, it's if you think about it, it's kind of like a simulation, right?
It's a virtual computer.
Yeah. Very, very cool game. Very, very, the creative aspect of it. Like when I hear my son playing it, it's way more about the creative aspect for him than it's about swinging a sword. You know what I mean? It's
because
about
the
building.
possibilities are limitless.
The combat's just, I don't know, just like the background. It's not what you play the game for.
Yeah.
I just never could get past the low res nature of it.
That's
Oh, I
kind of the
love it.
point, though.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
kind of it is kind of important
To me, that's
to
the
it.
point of video games. The graphics have to be cool.
Yeah.
200 million people disagree with you, Bob.
Yeah, it's fine. They're all punks.
I would like to see a Minecraft. Now that processors are getting more powerful, et cetera, Minecraft, where each of the current Minecraft blocks gets divided, the dimensions divided in half. So there's 8, blocks that would make up that one block. So,
Yeah, it could be more granular.
yeah, so it makes it more granular. But
Can
they
we have a
will just
shape up?
have a lot more options, because they do have options where it is, like the steps and everything are at half the granularity. So I know there's a lot of hacks, but I mean, just in the basic game. So you could make like more realistic looking roofs, for example.
Is everything a cube? Or
Yeah,
not?
the whole world is cubical. Yeah.
Everything's a cube.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do things like they'll make pieces of that, like a stair, that's
Yeah.
like has the shape of a stair, so you could actually have real stairs.
But it occupies a cube. Everything occupies. So the game is built around, around cubes.
Cube
and
volumes.
each cube has an address, and
Mhm.
something goes in that cube. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that thing that goes in that cube can have texture to it and have shape to it. So it's not cubical, but then if you put something on top of it, the rest of the cube is empty. You know what I mean? Like that space is occupied. That cubical.
But the
space.
atoms in this world are cubes.
But yeah, everything is a
Actually.
cube.
Okay.
Everything is
If
a
I
cube.
if I played Minecraft, I would build a really big Borg cube.
You could.
Imagine
Steve,
someone's
that's not-
done it. Maybe
that's
someone's
not-
done it.
It's not true that everything is a cube, because
Oh.
the things that your character holds in its hand are not cubes.
Okay.
But
Like
is
the
it based on a
tools.
bunch of smaller cubes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really. Steve is mostly correct,
The
but there are.
world is divided up into cubical spaces, physical spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're updating that game so often now with big stuff. It's really
Hey, they got
amazing.
the backing and the resources and the
Yeah.
people. So sure.
I still go back to it. I won't play for a year, and I'll go back to it and just look at my old worlds and fool around with them a little bit. Yeah.
So I will say one more thing. I don't want to harp on it. It is a fantastic game. My son downloaded the Star Wars pack, right?
Yeah.
And
Minecraft.
it's so nuanced now
Mhm.
that they play the music in the real music, like it's branded like crazy. Like you download the one and they're playing the music from the movie. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That adds so much atmosphere to the game. It's
Sure.
ridiculous.
Seems like there's a push for an SGU Minecraft server.
Oh, my
Totally.
God.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Do that.
Somebody want to do it?
Oh boy.
Ian and I are working on
I'd
VR
rather-
right now.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
we're
do
doing
City of
some
Heroes.
mixed reality stuff, but
Mm.
City of Heroes is cool too.
I just said
But if somebody makes a SGU Minecraft server, I will play on it. How about that?
Oh, there
Mhm.
you're about to get an invitation in 2 minutes, Steve.
And we'll do Minecraft speed runs too, if you guys.
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Did you guys read that? By the way, I read that whole thing about the Minecraft speedrun guy who
That
cheated.
would work.
Oh, cheated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you told me about that.
Wait.
Yeah.
There's cheating in this game?
Well, actually,
Uh,
you know why?
copy.
Because the guy did a video about it, and we want to invite him on the show. He hasn't responded to our email. He's a Australian math guy, and so I watched this whole video on did this guy cheat, statistically speaking, and basically he got so lucky, and if that was truly at random, the odds against the amount of luck that he got is something like whatever 10 to the 32 or like some great
Cosmically impossible.
like astronomical odds. Like
Avogadro's number blown out of the water.
so he must have hacked it somehow.
What was the cheat though, Steve? What did he
Well, he
cheat?
was getting
Spawn
drops.
rates.
Like thing is, it was all about the drops because there's the game. You can find out like what's the probability that this creature on this situation, like if you give them 3 gold, how often do they drop the thing that you need? And that was happening because it happened like 200 times. It generated enough data that you could run fairly robust statistics on it. And it's like it's a bell curve of probabilities, and he was so far out on that curve that it was like the probability of that happening at random was crazy impossible. So
Yeah.
something funky was going on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's not like he got lucky once. It was that you could actually do a probability distribution and run statistics on it. Yeah.
Well, what exactly was he doing? You said it was a run, but was he running through the environment, picking
No.
stuff
So
up?
there's the speed running is completing a game as quickly as possible. And it's very popular now to show
What's
videos.
the game?
Yeah.
It was
Or a
Minecraft.
scenario? Is it a
Yeah,
scenario?
but how do you
What is
complete
happening?
Minecraft? Because
Yeah.
you're building
I
There
know
is
mine-
an
Oh, so getting to the Ender dragon, killing the
Yeah.
Ender dragon at the end. That was
Oh.
So how quickly can you get the Ender dragon? And that's why you need specific drops. But they were just happening more frequently than should be happening. And again, if it happened once or twice, you could say, all right, you got lucky. But if it happens 100 times, it's like, nope, that was hundreds of trillions to one against that happening.
So Bob, just to give you some context, when you start the game, you have nothing.
You have nothing.
You have to go and punch a tree to get wood,
Yeah, you got to punch
and then
it.
you have to make a whatchamacallit,
And you make wood
crafting
tools
table. Yeah.
to get stone tools, and then stone tools to get
Yeah.
iron tools, and then
It's as if God put you into the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, but I didn't know there
Go
was
nuts.
an end point. I thought it was just a
it
creative
doesn't have to
process.
be. There doesn't have to be. You can, but there within the game
There's a
there is
quest.
that quest, to get to the end, and people try to complete it as quickly as possible. I've never
All
done
right.
it. I don't care about.
It's not. Yeah. Who
the
cares?
end game.
What
Yeah,
happens when you kill him? Does the game
I
like
don't-
close? Like, okay,
You
thank
get
you.
you
Bye-bye.
get wings. You get the what do you call those? The
Legit?
yeah, you can fly.
That
All right,
sounds
should
pretty
we take
awesome.
a question or two before we close?
Yes, let's do that.
Sure. Well, as somebody, while we're on the gaming thing, what role-playing systems have you used or do you use?
I'm always partial to the D20 system, but we've played Star Wars, we've played Warhammer. I always tend to come back to D20. It's a good basic game that you could then modify. Like I wrote a Fallout 4 modification for the D20 system, the current rules. It's easy to build off of,
I've used we use Director's Cut,
Yeah, that's
which
fun.
is good for a one night game. And that game is the base idea there is you're a person in a horror movie. You're one of the possible victims in a horror movie.
And you may not survive. You probably
Yeah.
won't. But it's
So
okay.
we
'cause it's
use
one
that
night,
game
yeah.
system for anything. And yeah, Steve and I use the FFG, Star Wars FFG, Fantasy Flight games. And what else, Evan? What else have we used?
As far as D20 systems,
Or any kind of role playing system?
you talk about the Star Wars stuff you've done.
Yeah.
And
Deadlands.
oh yeah, certainly Deadlands from way
We
back
play
when.
Deadlands all the time. Yeah, it's awesome.
Tons of D&D, and
Yeah.
Someone said, and then you go down in the basement by yourself. That's awesome.
And back in the Perry days, there was the occasional Gamma World game.
Gamma World
for
is fun.
those who remember, that was fun because you could get pretty creative with some things there.
Yeah, we did a Heroes game too. What was that? Something in Villains.
Oh yeah, villains and vigilantes.
Yeah,
That was
Villains and
fun.
Vigilantes.
That was
a
fun.
lot of
Yes,
fun.
villain. Yeah,
All
that was
superheroes.
Mhm.
My favorite type of role playing is pretending to be a zombie in a really cool cemetery that I made.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking with Cthulhu, we've done Cthulhu campaigns certainly.
That's true. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Bob.
yeah.
All right, another question.
We had a couple of questions about the CDC's guidelines about once you're vaccinated, you can no longer quarantine, but how does that relate to wearing masks and social distancing?
So if you're out in public, they still want you to social distance and wear masks, but you don't have to take that extra step of isolating or quarantining just because you were exposed. If you get sick, obviously you have to do it, but not just from exposure, because the idea is that the probability that you're sick is still lower than the general population, so it's that preventive or prophylactic isolation that you don't have to do if you're fully vaccinated.
So another question is, what do you think of Avi Loeb's claims that Oumuamua was likely an alien spacecraft?
Yeah, it's nonsense.
That's nonsense.
I don't find it impressive at all. But when we went over this on the show, and I haven't heard anything to change my mind about it.
He's generally a pretty bright guy, though. I mean, I've read lots of his stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
what's
I don't
the
know
deal?
why. I don't know why he's focused on that. It's just the idea that because of the way it was moving. But I just don't think he has a compelling argument to make. I think if it's just it was like a hybrid comet asteroid.
It's a hybrid.
Mark
It's
your
a
cards,
hybrid.
folks.
winging through our solar system. That was it. I mean, obviously, I would love it if it were an alien spacecraft. But
my God.
there's just nothing to go. I don't think that there's a compelling argument to make that we can conclude that. All right, one more.
Okay. Okay. What do you want? Do you want dreams, CDC, or
Dreams.
probiotic? Okay. Have you ever had a dream? That's not
Yes.
a meme. Okay.
Had a
Thank you.
vivid one.
Have you ever had a dream that helped you make a decision or motivated you to action in real life?
No,
Oh.
not that I can remember.
Can't think of
I have.
that. Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not
Really?
talking Martin Luther King kind of, stuff. We're
So,
talking
yeah,
about.
like you wake up from
Right.
a dream and it makes you change your mind about something or make a decision or help you motivate you to do something. Not that I can remember.
I
You-
would
you
say
did,
that
Jay?
Yeah. I
Hit
mean,
us.
it was basically like I had a dream about a girl that I knew that I wasn't, close to or anything, and the dream kind of encouraged me to go out with her. That was it.
Okay.
I
Maybe-
felt
Oh,
the
there you
commitment.
go.
It was a bit kind of, but it was more of an
Yeah.
emotional intimacy, and it made me like think about her in a different way, and it
That's cool.
and
I've
yes.
never had that.
for me, having a lucid dream has motivated me to redouble my efforts to help
Double our
try to
efforts.
have them
To have
again.
more lucid dreams.
Yeah, to have more of them. So yeah,
Love the lucid dreams. Oh,
Lucid dreams are fun, but they are damn hard to maintain.
yeah,
oh
very
my
hard
God.
to maintain.
Yep. Just when things get exciting, it's like
That's
whoa,
the thing.
you wake up like what
The
the
more you
hell?
know.
push it, the
Yeah,
more you push it, the
wake
more
up.
likely you are to
Don't wake me up.
It's
dream you
almost like
wake
a
up or whatever.
Mm.
it's such a fu. It's like why can't it just be like we could do whatever we want? I hate it.
Hmm.
Final question is: did we pick contestants for the game show Boomer versus Zoomer?
No, not yet.
We have. So I looked at some of the videos though. The bar's pretty high. Let me just say that. Got some cool videos of people.
So real quick, just to give everyone a context. So we, Steve, me, George, and Ian and Brian Wecht created a online game show that we are going to be, what is it? The 20th, Steve, is our first
20th. Yeah.
the first public thing. So basically it started from Nexus last year. We wanted to come up with something to do. We came up with a game show concept. And then after Nexus, we were like, we could do this 1,000,000 times better. And that's what we did. So we wrote a game. It's called Boomer versus Zoomer. And, we're just getting all of our ducks in a row right now. And Ian, where can they go to audition?
It's the Skeptic's Guide. I think it's BVZ Audition or Auditions. Both of them lead to the Google form, but skepticsguide.org/BVZ Audition. I'll post it in the chat.
That's it. Yep. And also, somebody just emailed me. They became a patron and they want to know how to connect to Discord.
If you search Google, there's a fairly straightforward like tutorial or list of steps, but it's Patreon, the back end settings, and link your Discord.
I have two parting quick messages, please.
Go ahead.
Some people were asking what I've been eating during this show, and nobody guessed correctly. The answer is pinole nuts, pine nuts, roasted.
Cool.
Very nice.
I like
Yum.
those.
I do like those. A nice treat.
Yeah, they're
And
good.
all hail Cthulhu, our overlord, and everyone should have one of these in their house just in case.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our Friday live stream. Thank you all for joining us. It's always fun. Jay, thanks for doing the quiz. Ian, thanks for teching
problem.
for us. We always
Mhm.
appreciate it. And I guess we'll see you for the regular show tomorrow. Some of the questions that were asked will be answered in tomorrow's show. That's why I didn't answer them. And we'll see you guys at the live stream next Friday.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Drunken noodles.
Thanks,
here.
everyone.
Bye.
Be safe.
Bye.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions. dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.